Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, Brains and Beauty. I'm a PhD student studying brains and also a beauty lover. And on this channel, I kind of focus on creative, conscious consumerism. So if you're part of the conscious consumerism part of the beauty community, I think you will have heard before of like no buy years, low buy years, beauty budgets. And if you haven't, basically the gist of it is that in order to limit our consumption, whether it's because of monetary reasons, so you just want to be spending less, or if it's because you just want to love more on the products that you do have, and so you want to limit the amount that's coming in, you could do a no buy year, which would mean not purchasing anything for the entirety of the year. You could do a low buy year, which could mean that you basically purchase at a lower level than what you normally would. So it could be monetary, so set the total amount of spending you do that year at a lower price, or it could be the number of products that you obtain at a lower amount than you usually do. And then beauty budgeting is an interesting kind of in between. So you can tell yourself how much budget you want to give yourself, and doesn't necessarily mean it's a low budget. It's just like something that you want to strictly stand by. So you have this much money that you want to spend on these products, and you might say like, I have a monthly budget and it changes, or you have a yearly budget. And so I did a no buy year in 2019, I did a beauty budget in 2020, and I did a low buy year in 2021. And so for this video, what we're going to do is I'm going to pull out all those products that I purchased in each of those years. I'm going to tell you like why I purchased those products, and then I'm also going to tell you the experience that I had doing that sort of challenge or having those set of rules. Now, because I'm going to be basically showing you 3 years worth of makeup, I'm not going to be giving a like in-depth review on every single product that I pull out. But I will let you know that if you are interested in any of these products, I mean, you can always ask me by just leaving a comment, or you can subscribe because I do have a Shop My Stash series. And in that series, I have it such that every single month, I'm going to rotate different products, and so by the end of the year, I will have used every single product in my collection exclusively for a full month, and then updated you on my experiences, like really detailed experiences of using that product. So I think it'll be very informative to check those Shop My Stash videos. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into 2019 when I did my no buy. Okay, so I want to start with the palette that started it all. So basically, in 2019, I was still quite uncomfortable with spending large sums of money on a single product. And just to kind of set the idea of like where I was at, because I think when it comes to budgeting and everything, we also have to consider like what time of our life we're in, what our resources are, and everything related to that comes into play on what would be a smart purchase for that individual. So at the time in 2019, that was my last year of my undergraduate degree, and I had not actually been working. So I was very blessed that I live with my family, and they were covering the cost of everything, food, rent, all that kind of stuff. And even though like I had offered to, get a job and work and whatnot, they were very adamant that like, no, you focus on your studies, no working for you. So because I didn't have my own money to spend, a lot of my spending habits were based on how I felt like my parents would spend, because at the end of the day, it is their money that I would be spending. And it's not that they wouldn't let me spend, they basically were very much like, their ideology is like their money is my money is their money. So it was not like they ever monitored what I was purchasing. It was just like they trusted me to just make the right decisions. And so whatever I would do, I would always think like, would they actually be okay with this if they were making the purchase? Now, I'm actually pretty grateful for this because it allowed me to kind of build my own muscles for spending. Like, I also have like basically both my parents are kind of opposite. So my dad is the type of person who's like, here, just take $200, spend it, have fun. And my mom's the type to be like, no, save, as much as you can. If you want something, like be patient. It will always end up on sale at the end of the year. And if you still want it by then, you can get it. So I kind of had both sides influence me. And in a way, even though I was given from like my dad money to just spend, have fun, I would always actually save it and not spend that much and then wait until the sales and get myself a little treat. And this comes for every single type of shopping that I would do, not just like makeup, but clothing, anything else. That's how I would shop. So before getting into makeup, other products I was interested in would not exceed like $20 usually. I would get like a dress for $20, or I would get some rings or jewelry for, $5 to $15 at like Ardeen or something. So none of like my spending was actually on like big ticket items. And then I got into makeup, and actually, what I started purchasing, like the first purchases I ever made with makeup, were like a Sephora concealer, like back in 2015, a Sephora concealer for like $15. And every time that I went to the mall, I would spend like $20 on like a MAC lipstick. So that was kind of how I was purchasing makeup when I was first getting into it. But by 2019, so I started in 2015, by 2019, I was growing my collection, and I was purchasing slightly more expensive stuff. Like my foundation was a little bit more expensive. It was like, I think, in the $40 range. And so things were getting up there. And then I fell in love with the Huda New Nude palette. And it's 88 Canadian dollars. And I think that was the point where I was like, I just can't do it. Like I just can't spend that much money on one thing. It just didn't feel right. But when I thought about it, I was like, I'm probably spending collectively more than that amount throughout the year. So like if I were to save all that money and then just purchase this palette at the end of the year, I should feel okay about that? So that was a plan for 2019. Going into it, I was like, I'm just not going to purchase anything from January all the way until the Black Friday sales at the end of the year. And then because I spent all that time not purchasing anything, I'll feel a little more comfortable spending that much money on this palette. And I wanted it with such a passion the entire year. Like that never faded. So I knew it was a good palette for me, but it was just the cost that was like holding me back. Now, as you can see, I do have it, but things didn't go exactly as planned. So I was perfectly on the no buy year, but around the spring is when I started learning about indie eyeshadows, and specifically Clionadh multichromes. And like I was just obsessed because they were just these magical eyeshadows. I never tried multichromes before, and they were also like Canadian based, but everyone was raving about them, even people like in the US or like globally. Like it was just so cool to see like a Canadian brand being raved about. Like I was pretty proud as well. So I really wanted to try Clionadh Cosmetics. And at the time, like 2019 to 2018, I think I was still consuming a lot of um, like drugstore dupe videos. Like a lot of people would basically find dupes for higher end products in the drugstore so that you wouldn't spend so much money on a higher end product. And those are great, but I think especially after this year, I came to realize that that's not for me. If I'm going to dupe something, I'd rather dupe it within my collection rather than run the risk of purchasing something at the drugstore where I'm still spending money at the end of the day, and it still could have the risk of not being something I like. Whereas something in my collection, I already know I like it. So, and I'm not spending any additional money. So I've now learned that that's better for me, like duping within my collection, or even in my series where I mix eyeshadows to dupe like new releases for eyeshadows. That's way better for me personally than duping something by purchasing something else. That's not for me anymore. But at the time in 2018 to 2019, I think there was just a lot of content on that. And so, in a way, I was trying to do that with the situation. So, around like spring, I told myself, okay, I love the Clionadh Cosmetics eyeshadows and I want them with the same desire and passion as I want the Huda New Nude palette. So I told myself, if I were to purchase 3 Clionadh glitter multichromes, that would be 30 Canadian dollars, and this is like 88 Canadian dollars. So I told myself if I get those 3, then I don't get this. That was like the deal. I was still trying to like prevent myself from purchasing this because the thought of spending so much money was still too daunting for me. So that's what ended up happening. So I purchased CL, Ornamental, and Glaze. And these are absolutely beautiful eyeshadows. I took my time thinking what shades I wanted. I really love like a blue with a gold shift. I love a gold that also goes to like a green and teal. And then this one is like, this is very much me. This is very much like light pastel, but sparkles and gold. Like this one has gold as well as a shift, and it also has pink. And so I bought these, I got them, I played with them. I love them so much. And they were everything I wanted. And I think I got them around my birthday in August. And even after getting them, the desire for the new nude did not go away. And that was like my first step of like learning that like I couldn't do that. I couldn't do the whole thing where I'd purchase something else to make up for like not purchasing what I really wanted. And so because the desire was still there, and by the time Black Friday like rolled around, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna get it. I really wanted it for so long. I just wanted to get it. And I'm happy I did, like I feel like this was not excessive, and I went around, like I remember this like vividly. I went around and I swatched this purple mauve shade on my hand, and I swatched every single other purple mauve shade in every palette and every single at Sephora, and none of them made me as happy as this one. And so that was like, I just knew that this was the right palette for me. It has all these soft pinks and these purples, and like it's just a beautiful palette that I will use, and it's more neutral that I can use on an everyday basis. I just felt like if I really wanted it for that long, and I tried everything to not want it anymore, I felt like it was a good idea to get it. So I did get it during the sales. Now, at that point, I hadn't set any restrictions for myself after I purchased this. Like, the restriction was that before I purchased this, I wouldn't buy anything so that I could feel good purchasing this. So I kind of broke it by purchasing these three. And then after I got this, I did get 2 more products because technically the no-buy, well, it wasn't really a full year. It was just till the Black Friday sales. So that part was done, and I was thinking of if I wanted anything else. And I don't remember purchasing this at that time, but when I look at my Excel spreadsheet where I have all the dates that I purchased things, I did actually purchase the Natasha Denona Mini Gold in that same year, like after, like during the sales. So that's pretty interesting. I don't know if it was just like I can't remember like really thinking hard about this, or I don't know. It's just kind of interesting because I don't remember like going crazy or thinking so much, which is not usual for me. I usually like watch a million reviews, think about a product so much before I purchase it. And yeah, it was just, I don't remember that for this, but I'm really happy I got this as well that year because this is one of my favorite palettes in my collection. The formula is absolutely beautiful. The colors are so nice. So yeah, these were still good purchases. And then looking at my Excel spreadsheet, I also had purchased the Sephora liner. And that was a repurchase because I finished the other one, and by now I finished that one as well. And at the time in that year, 2019, I believe KVD had a free birthday set at Sephora for the powder and the mini KVD tattoo liner, and so I got that as well. And I've used up the liner, and I just have this powder left. And then the last thing was this NYX blush palette, and again, you're gonna see a theme. So basically, I purchased this because NARS came out with a beautiful blush palette that I could not get over. Like, I was like, it's so beautiful, I really, really want it. And my thought process was, and I know this is gonna make some of y'all laugh, especially if you're project panners. My thought process was, I'll purchase this one, and if I pan this one and I use it a lot, if I use it a lot and I finish it, then I'll get the NARS one. And like it just goes to show, like, I really was not watching any Project Pan content at the time, or else I would have known that that is a hefty goal to to completely pan a blush palette. I just clearly was not aware how long it takes to use makeup. So while that makes sense, like it was a logical thing to say, like, hey, rather than spend a lot of money on this blush palette, maybe figure out if you even like using blush palettes, buy this like drugstore version first, and when you finish it, you can get the NARS one. But clearly, I did not finish it. And here's the thing, like, I did actually kind of resent this, I think, in like 2020 and maybe early 2021. I felt like I was never reaching for it, but I think the reason for that was just that I was upset that I didn't get the NARS one. But now that I have reached into this, like, I actually do love this blush palette as itself. Like, I think it's so like nice that it's so diverse. You have like this bubblegum pink, you have orange, you have plum, you have a regular pink. It's very diverse. So I do like this product, and now that it's in my collection, I value it, and I do like it for what it is. So yeah, looking at these now, like, these were all very good purchases, I feel like, and I didn't make any excessive purchases, and I do really feel like that is due to being on a no-buy year. So honestly, I would be happy to do a no-buy year again. Now, what I will say happened in 2019 that isn't makeup related is that I did purchase skincare in 2019. Now, it wasn't excessive. It wasn't like I like completely started overspending on skincare. It was just an interesting thing that I noted that before then, I literally had no skincare basically. I just had a cleanser. That's it. And so I was not used to doing anything related to skincare. And so in 2019, I kind of spent money on that instead of this. So was I really saving money overall? I'm not sure. I bought like a couple of face oils. I bought some face masks to try that out. And I bought like an under eye oil. I got a moisturizer. I got a face spray. So I got stuff like that. Again, not an overabundance, but I feel like just to build what a normal skincare collection looks like for most people. Since then, like I realized basically throughout 2019, I tried it. I tried the whole skincare thing. It doesn't work for me. I have very sensitive skin. It does not like anything. It's like, don't bother me. That's all my skin thinks. It's just like, don't bother me and we'll be okay. So, other than a cleanser, which I just continue to repurchase, a gel cleanser so it doesn't strip my skin. Other than that and a sunscreen, that's all I need. That's it. And if I do anything more, it's gonna make my skin freak out. It's just really sensitive. And if I don't do anything more, I'm okay. Like, I think um, skincare has its place, especially if you're targeting something specific. But for me, like, my skin is generally okay. Like, it doesn't, if I get a pimple, as long as I don't touch it, which I'm good at not touching it, it goes away within like 2 days, you know? And other than that, like, I have normal skin. I don't have super dry or super oily, and, um, I'm in my 20s, so other than sunscreen, I don't feel like I need any anti-aging stuff yet, and so in general, it's just kind of like, it's okay where it is, so there's no point to irritate it by doing a bunch of stuff to it just in the name of, like, self-care, because I feel like skincare is so tied to self-care, and sometimes, like, for me, self-care is actually playing with eyeshadows, that's what makes me feel happy. So I've learned that about myself, that I don't need to do skincare for self-care. I can just enjoy playing with makeup instead. But yeah, that was something that I learned in 2019. And so I would say for anyone who's kind of starting a no-buy, not only should you maybe think about what budget you spend on other things or other hobbies, but also put a budget for like any like new hobbies, because you might suddenly develop a new interest and you didn't account for how that would affect your budget if that's what's important to you, like saving money. It's good to maybe just put a like even though you don't know what it is, just put like a new hobby budget. Like if I develop a new hobby, how much am I going to spend on it? So yeah, that's something to think about. But that was basically it for my no buy year and the makeup that I bought during it. So now let's move on to 2020, which was my beauty budget year and was definitely influenced by Hannah Louise Poston to do that year because I watched her beauty budget year. Okay, so now we're moving on from 2019 to 2020, and things were changing in my life. So a couple of things impacted this year. So 2019 in the summer, I graduated from my undergraduate degree, and in 2019 fall, I started my graduate work. When you start your graduate work, especially in my program, you do get actually paid. So you kind of are both getting a degree and you're working. But getting like an actual work income made me realize, okay, I really need to think about how much do I actually like want to spend each year. And I was telling my friends this, and I remember thinking like 1,000 sounds like a lot, like on everything. I'm talking like $1,000 for everything that brings me joy. Like if I'm going out to eat, if it's makeup, if it's clothes, if it's whatever it is, like $1,000 for everything. I felt like a lot of money, you know? So I didn't want to go past that. But when I was telling my friends that, they all kind of laughed and they were like, girl, no, like you definitely, like, we all spend more than $1,000 a year. And I was like pretty flabbergasted by that. I was like, wait, what? We do? So I set myself for the beauty budget 1,500 just to be like on the safe side, that I wasn't like really limiting myself. But again, it wasn't technically a beauty budget. It was technically a happy budget, like anything that made me happy. Anything that I didn't need to spend money on, but I decided to because it made me happy. So that actually included like things like repurchasing a shampoo, but it was like a very fancy shampoo, or makeup, or going with my friends out to a certain event. Like it was all of those things. Now, as we know in 2020, though, by March, everything shut down. So I was actually in lockdown for the entirety of the year, other than January and February. But then again, like February, my parents were cautious before even the lockdown, so they actually told me to stop going anywhere in February. So it was kind of like I only had like January to actually go out, and I think I just went out once to a restaurant. So really that entire year's 1,500 ended up being just for beauty related things. So you're going to see that there was quite a bit of purchases that happened this year. So we'll go through them. First, we'll talk about what I got right before the lockdown. So my cousin's wedding was supposed to happen in March. And I was thinking that I wanted to try false lashes for the first time. I didn't own any false lashes. I'd never tried it before. And I've seen a lot of videos on how magnetic lashes would work for those who are like beginners. So I wanted to get them now. It is quite expensive, like the lashes. So what I did was I found that the best liner was a Moxielash liner. And I thought I would get that. I'd get one of the lashes, and then I'd get these drugstore lashes for just a couple of bucks. And this was when Ulta used to ship to Canada. They no longer do, but yeah, so I did pick up a couple of these. And that was a great decision, honestly, because I've loved using these. You know, it's 2022 now, and I've used these so many times. This is the same liner from then. I know I should probably soon stop using it. I did put in some Inglot Duraline. It's almost dried out, so it's almost done. But yeah, basically, this was what I got. I did also grab the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. I got this because I felt like I was already running low on the one that I had, but if you have been following me in 2021, I panned that one and I still had like 3 months left after I took out the stopper, so I really didn't need to buy backup, but you know, it's one of my favorites, so I did get that then. And so other than this, I feel like these were good purchases for February. And then I think the lockdowns happened and maybe Clionadh was having a sale. I feel like they were because otherwise I'm not sure why I would have purchased so early in the year. I usually wait till the end of the year sales. But I did purchase glitter multichromes from Clionadh, like their bundle. So I basically got these glitter multichromes, and I'll link a video up above where I swatched all these glitter multichromes really closely in depth, pointing out all the shifts. And I also got Luxe as the iridescent multichrome, and I got Cathedral to try out the pastel multichromes. And then I also got these two. So a duochrome hex, and then a matte shade from when Clionadh used to make matte shades. Now this again, I don't think this is a bad decision at all. So this still fit within my beauty budget. So I was allowed to purchase 125 worth of makeup a month because that's 1,500 divided by 12. And so I had, and if I didn't use up that amount of money, it would keep going till the next month, so I could continue to use that amount of money. And so by the time I purchased these, they were within my budget, and they're all very beautiful shades. So I am happy I got all of these. I think it was a good decision. I will say, except for the matte, I think Clionadh is reformulating their mattes right now, but I would say wait for reviews for their pastels because this was not a good pastel matte. Because when I blend this out, it was actually darker at the edges. So that was the only thing that I didn't really like in this purchase. I do still have it because I do like using it with Inglot Duraline to add like purple detailing, but yeah, it can't be really blended out. Now on the note of a bad purchase, there are two products that are not here that I did purchase in February. So in February 2020, before the wedding, I did also think like it would be really nice if I had a glowy cheek. And I didn't own any glowy cheek products. I only had like matte pressed powders. And because it was right before the wedding, I did a bit of like a frantic purchase, which is not something I normally do. I normally research a lot, but I kind of just purchased the Dewy Elixir from Physicians Formula, and I purchased the Cover FX Duo blushes because it had a shimmery side, and I thought maybe that could be like a glowy side for the cheeks. And the reason why those aren't in my collection, the Dewy Elixir actually went bad, so like it started smelling off a year later, so that's why I had to declutter it. And then the Cover FX, I basically decluttered it pretty much almost untouched because it just couldn't blend. Even though I actually did watch a lot of reviews on that and everyone was raving about it, they were raving about the lighter shade. And because this was more of a plum, I think it just wasn't blending out as well on my light skin tone, and maybe I need a different brush to make it work, but I never really, got into trying that. I decided to just like, give it away without really touching it much because by the time I thought about like actually trying to make it work, I realized that I have enough blushes and it takes really long to pan blushes, and I'd rather just give away the newest blush that I had obtained. So you can see that in my declutter video. I'll link it up above. But yeah, those are actually the only two items in the whole 3 years of me doing this kind of conscious consumerism budgeting, that I actually got products that I decluttered, which is not bad at all, honestly. To think there are only 2 products that happened for. And then in terms of the rest of them, I honestly really love everything that I got. Would have been better to wait before, I got a backup of this concealer, yeah, but it's one of my favorites, so it's okay. And I actually panned all of my concealers except for one last year, and I'm panning my last one this year, so it's not too bad. And then the blush palette I learned to love, and this one I can still use it with Duraline. So, overall I feel like everything that I purchased was something I loved, and there were a couple that I didn't that I could still make work. So I think the whole like being very careful of what you're purchasing does actually really help in making good purchases. So these were purchases in the earlier part of the year, and these are what I think of when I think of makeup that I bought in 2020, because I actually got to play with them in 2020. And by playing with Luxe specifically, I realized that I really loved iridescent multichromes, and so that is what kind of set the tone for what I purchased in the Black Friday and like Boxing Day sales in the winter. So because of Luxe, I ended up purchasing another Clionadh order during the sales during Black Friday, and I got Ray Halo Glow Gilding, and then I wanted to try the jeweled multichrome, so I got Forge and Gothic. Now at this point, it's hard for me to think of this next set of products as part of 2020 because it didn't arrive to my house until January of 2021. So it's kind of weird because it's like I only actually played with it in 2021. So when I was setting up like these products to show you in this video, I was like, wait, what? That was 2020. So yeah, I did purchase this, and the budget and everything was related to 2020. So I also bought from Terra Moon's Red Giant, Phoenix, and then these pastels. And from the moment I actually was aware that I really wanted more pastel mattes, and I knew that I wanted the Creepy Q palette, and the only pastels missing from the Creepy Q palette were these two. And so I really strategically bought these shades, and I did a video unboxing, like my first impressions, and swatching them up close and looking at all the shifts. So I'll leave that video linked above as well. But yeah, so that was like my second haul of eyeshadows. And then I also really wanted to try lip glosses because I hadn't been interested in lip glosses before, but because so many people love this and it really kind of restarted the lip gloss trend, I wanted to try it out. And because there was a set out with this mini lip gloss and this highlighter, I was like, I'll just try it out, like this set with both of them. I think the set was like a really good deal, and there was a sale on the set, and I could get it on top of that with the Sephora sale, so I like paid basically nothing for these two. And when I got them, I was actually surprised by how much I have fallen in love for this Fenty Beauty Diamond Bomb highlighter. It is really, really nice. So yeah, I really did like this purchase. I think these two either were a sample or they were that year's Sephora birthday thing. But yeah, so I got those as well. And then I also got the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powder. I just wanted it for so many years, and I watched a bunch of extra reviews. They said it was good for like even mature skin, and I do my makeup on my mom as well, so I just thought it would be a good purchase. So I got this as well. And I'm realizing I've started to give reviews for things. I said I wasn't going to do that. Okay, I have this actually in my February Shop My Stash, and I will tell you more about what I feel about this in that video. Okay, so yeah, basically this is what I purchased, and I received this second batch in 2021, but this is what I purchased in 2020. And after doing all that, I actually was below the 1,500 mark, which is very interesting to me. Like, I was able to end the year, I think, with almost like $200 that I hadn't spent. So I ended the beauty budget year as a success. I stayed within the budget. I got all of these beautiful products. I was super happy, honestly, with that year. So everything went great. And I think I also actually got this mascara set during 2020 as well, but the thing is, I actually don't have a date written for this, but I think it was in 2020, and it's just like a mini mascara set, and it was like the cost of one full-size mascara, and then once you finish these, you can actually choose one full size for free from these. So it was a good set, and I'm almost done the last one from this box. So yeah, overall, good purchases. And I thought like I wanted to just try something else as well. Like I wanted to try each year something different. So I wanted to try a low buy year in 2021. And honestly, I didn't make any kind of like bad purchases, but I actually didn't enjoy my low buy year. So let's talk about the low buy purchases that I made. So now we're at my low buy year, and that was in 2021. And the idea was that it would kind of be similar to a beauty budget, but just that the number that I was allowed to spend that year would be less. So I thought maybe I could go back to what I had originally wanted to do, which was, if you remember, the $1,000 was kind of where I felt I was more comfortable with as like something that I would spend money on to make me happy. And it was still the lockdown, so again, the things that made me happy were mainly makeup. And so it was basically a low buy on makeup. So I set it for $1,000, and I gave myself a monthly budget. So in January it was $100, in February it was $100, and then all the other months it was $80. And again, if I didn't use that full amount, it would roll over to the next month, so I could still use it. So my first, oops. This isn't meant to go with this group. This is in the second group, but I guess I just saw shiny packaging and I put it with this one. So yes, this was the first group. This was around the spring sales for Sephora. And basically at this point, so it's 2021, I'm starting to, I started a YouTube channel, and I am taking kind of close-up shots of my eye looks, and I wanted to try, getting something for the waterline, because like once you do close-up shots, it's kind of nice to have some color on the waterline. And I didn't have any eyeliners in my collection ever that did that. So I got a nude one and a black one. They were already on a really good sale at Sephora because Marc Jacobs was like leaving Sephora, and I'd known from watching so many reviews that this is one of the best eyeliners for the waterline. So I made that purchase, and then I also, because I was loving so much the Fenty lip gloss, I thought I really wanted a clear lip gloss, and because this one comes not with a doe foot applicator, but you can actually just squeeze it out. I thought that was perfect because it means like this clear lip gloss wouldn't end up contaminated with whatever color I want to put it on top of. So I got the Danessa Myricks lip gloss, and I also was thinking I could use this for the cheek and the eyes for that kind of like glossy eye look. I wanted to try it out. It didn't work out, but yeah, basically I still love this for the lips. And if the Dewy Balm was available from Danessa Myricks at Sephora at the time of purchase, I would have purchased it, like the clear one, but I think it was sold out, and that was the only reason why I didn't purchase it. And honestly, I'm pretty okay with not having purchased it now because I think after finding out that this really didn't work on the cheeks, I was kind of like, what am I expecting with the Dewy Balm? Like, it's going to be a balm on the cheeks as well. Like, it's not going to do anything magical. So, yeah, I'm pretty happy with just what I got here. And then I got the Red Zero Hourglass lipstick because basically of Haley from Beauty News, she made a whole video dedicated to this lipstick and how like this was revolutionary because this color was the first that they like patented to mimic the pigment of carmine. And also both Kat and Haley always talk about how perfect this formula is, so I wanted to try the Hourglass formula for the first time, and the packaging was gorgeous. So I got it for those reasons, and I do enjoy it. And then this is the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk lipstick, and I got this as a 100-point like kind of perk, so it wasn't really a purchase with money, but I just thought I'd include it here. So yeah, that was basically my purchases for majority of 2021, now that I think about it. Because the rest of my purchases were purchases that I made during like the Black Friday and Boxing Day sales all the way at the end of the year. And I didn't even get those products until January of 2022. So like until this year. So it's kind of like this is all I had as new products in my collection. And now that I'm looking at it like this, I think that might be one of the reasons why I didn't enjoy my low buy. Because I didn't really actually get to play with much that was new, but it wasn't like a no buy where you already know going into it you're not going to get to play with much that's new, so maybe that's what happened. But yeah, that's basically what I got for like in the spring, and now let's look at what I got in December. I'm trying to fit this all on screen. Okay, so basically, I think this fits. So what I ended up getting, this was actually earlier in the fall, these two. So I got the Shine by SD Luxie and Revenge. And so I did get a little bit something to play with in 2021. But everything else that you see here didn't arrive until January of 2022. So I got basically the remainder of the iridescent multichromes, like colors that I didn't have from Clionadh. I got 2 more jeweled multichromes, and I have a video like unboxing and swatching these and comparing it to those ones, so I'll also leave that with the linked playlist of these like Clionadh swatches. And then I got 2 new Terra Moons multichromes, so Ceres and Helix Nebula. And I haven't even shown you guys on these two on the channel yet. They will be coming soon. I'm gonna do a whole video swatching all of my purples and then making a new purple for my collection at the end of the video, but that's like a video that will come soon. So yeah, I got these. I also got the Silent Night palette, and so this was like my main palette purchase of that year. And actually, when you think about it, so it's kind of like in 2020, I did 2 kind of hauls for eyeshadows, 2 single shadow hauls, but it felt kind of like 2 palettes. And then in 2019, it was 2 palettes. There's a Huda New Nude and the mini Natasha Denona with like 3 single shadows. So it's like those were like 2 groups. And clearly here in 2021, I also had 2 groups. So it's kind of interesting to see that that's how I obtain eyeshadows. But yeah, so I got these as my eyeshadows during 2021. And I also got this WInkylux Rose blush. I've wanted this for over a year at that point. I did a whole video like on my wish list. I really take time with things on my wish list before I purchase them. So I did get this, and this was like a free tinted lip oil that came with it. And I've had this in my project pan sitting at my desk. I've really been enjoying using it. So overall, great purchases. And then below it is the Huda Beauty primary palette. And this is all eyeliners. So I don't have any colored eyeliners in my collection, and so this was a really good purchase to basically have any color I want. And lastly is the Love Kit. And so this comes with 3 sets of lashes and a new Moxielash eyeliner. And like I said, my other one is drying out, so it's great to get another one. And you basically get it for free if you get this kit on the discounted price during their Boxing Day sales. So I did get this, and so that was a good purchase. And this was actually not something that I purchased. This was something that my brother got for me because when we were going to the wedding that I've been mentioning this whole time finally happened in September in 2021. And so on my way there, though, I forgot to bring the eyeliner with me, and my inner corner kind of like was coming up, so my brother went into Shoppers Drug Mart and just grabbed this lash glue. So I do have this, although I don't know what to do with this at this point, but anyway, I have it anyways just in case. Yeah, so basically this was everything that I did purchase. The Silent Night palette, I'm going to have a review on it coming, I think next week. I'll post it after this one. Very in-depth, like comparing this, swatches, comparisons to all my other multichromes, talking about the new formula because this is a new formula for Glaminatrix that they're going to use moving forward for their eyeshadows. So I'll do that, I'll show you looks, and because this was in my, as my focus palette for my Shop My Stash for the theme of the Queen, I've gotten a lot of use out of it, so I will save my thoughts for that video. But yeah, basically these were really wonderful product purchases. I'm having so much fun playing with them. But if you think about it, I really didn't get to play with them in 2021. I only had these. So it is one of those things where it's like, I think that was partially why I didn't enjoy my low buy. And also, I think there's more than just that. So basically, in my low buy, I was treating it similarly to 2020, where yes, it is a beauty-based budget or a beauty-based restriction, but there were some other purchases that weren't strictly makeup, but I was still including them under like beauty and under things that made me happy that I was spending money from for my low buy. And they were more utilitarian. And I think that's what was also kind of upsetting. I didn't get to play with much, and I didn't get to like reap the benefits of those products until like now. So one of the things that I did purchase was, for example, those 15mm pans. And now I use them for my build your own palettes, and I use them in a lot of different ways. So I'm getting the benefits of those now, but I purchased those back then. Also, just like magnetic palettes to store stuff in. That was money that I was purchasing. I got like this eyelash comb thing because my mascara was clumpy on my lashes. That was a thing that I purchased. Also, I went into 2021 knowing that I was getting into using eyeshadows on my nails. I knew that was going to be a thing I was enjoying, but because I was using eyeshadow, not nail polish, I didn't think I would be spending much money on this new hobby. So here you can see Ray from Clionadh is on my nails as the multichrome there. So I initially had just gotten a peel-off base, and I thought I would just do eyeshadows on my natural nails, and then I realized I actually wanted to design press-ons, so buying the press-ons, buying from different brands to figure out what press-on style I liked, what shape I liked, buying like top coats. Like, that doesn't bring me joy to buy top coats, but it's part of purchases that are necessary in order to enjoy these press-ons and kind of like nail gem accessories. I was purchasing that in 2021 mainly. All of that stuff is gonna bring me joy for years to come, but the thing is, like, the money for that came just from that year. So that's why I feel like the 2021 low buy was a bit of like a hard year for me in terms of I didn't enjoy it as much. But one thing that I will add outside of that factor, and it's not related to what products I purchased, but just to the low buy itself. Um, one thing that I realize I don't like about a low buy is that when I had the lowest amount of money I'm happy to spend a month, it made me more tempted to spend that whole amount. So I didn't actually, by the end of the low buy, like, I didn't go over my low buy or anything like that. But the thing is that I like, if for the $80 I had that month, if there was something that I was planning to purchase, I would just end up being like, if it's like $50 or $60, I'm like, well, what am I saving? Just like $20? Like, I may as well just use it up. I wasn't tempted to um, have that feeling of reward when you save something. Unlike in my beauty budget year, because there were months where I could save more money, like there was more of that leeway, it actually pushed me to want to save even more. I'd be like, ooh, but I can actually save like $40 or $50. It made me feel good, you know? So I feel like it's much better for me personally to allow myself and give myself room to spend as much as I want, and then let the reward of saving be the thing that like motivates me to spend less than to set a low spending budget for myself, because then I'm just like, I'll just spend it all. Then, you know, I'm not actually thinking about how much I'm saving. I don't feel as good afterwards. So overall, I don't actually think I'll do a like monetary low buy again. And I know this is like very different to each person, which is so interesting when I watch these videos and I hear other people's thoughts. Like, some people can't do a no buy. Like, they can't just say, I'm not going to purchase anything, because if they fail for one thing, they're just going to like let themselves purchase everything, or after a no buy they may like go and completely purchase like a whole huge haul, and then it like basically defeats the point of why they did it in the first place. But for me, like, I'm the type of person, even outside of purchasing habits, where I like the all or nothing approach, you know? So I actually would enjoy another no buy year, I think. I enjoyed my beauty budget year as well. I think the one thing that I'm gonna separate now, regardless of what kind of budget I do, is the kind of more utilitarian stuff versus the fun stuff, because I feel like the utilitarian stuff, I wasn't thinking much about it in terms of like, I wasn't putting on a wish list or anything, and I also wasn't enjoying it as much, just like the shopping aspect of it, but it was still taking from the budget of things that like brought me joy, like makeup, where I enjoy the shopping process and I enjoy the product and everything. So it's just two different things that I was merging that I want to separate moving forward. And yeah, so I was thinking about what I should do next. So I haven't seen anyone do this type of project, or what they would call it, so I don't have a name for it. Like, unless you guys can help me out with like an idea for what I should call this. It's basically just going to be a monthly makeup purchase. So that's going to be the gist of it, and I'm allowing myself to purchase one thing every single month, but I won't have any monetary restrictions. And that's really gonna be something different for me. I'm mainly doing this as just an experiment. Like, I just wanna know how my like behaviors change, what I decide to purchase, and all of these things. Because as you've seen, like, I haven't had a like overspending habit or anything like that. Just like getting a Huda palette for like $80, it was way too much for me. So I'm curious, if there wasn't a monetary thing that was holding me back, what would I purchase? And of course, when I first thought this up, a part of me still panicked. I was like, wait, what am I doing? like this is risky behavior. But it's not. I have enough in savings, and I know like the worst case scenario, right? Like, I could get what, like a $200 Pat McGrath thing. I know myself, if I do make such a purchase, there will only be one this year. I know myself very well. Like, I like to actually enjoy my products, and if I get something like that, I'm going to want to enjoy it for a while before I feel good to purchase something else. So I know I won't be purchasing like several Pat McGrath palettes or something like that, or Natasha Denona palettes. So I know overall the most damage I'll do won't exceed $2,000, you know, and I'm willing to take that risk just to see what kind of changes in my behavior are made by this type of restriction, more of a quantity restriction than a monetary restriction. So that's basically that. Oh, and if I don't purchase something in a month, it can roll over to the next month. But I really hope that I won't like, you know, purchase too many things at once in 1 month. So in a way, another thing other than just the monetary influence that I want to experiment with this year is purchasing things like distributed throughout the year. Because like I was saying with the year with the 2021, I really didn't get anything new to play with throughout the year. And so I'm wondering if I get something new in little bits throughout the year, that's something really different for me. I always wait for the sales at the end of the year. So I think it'll be interesting to see how that influences my purchasing behaviors as well, like what I decide to get. Now, I was thinking about these single shadows and whether an individual single shadow should count as one product. And as I was kind of thinking about this and simulating in my head how I would feel throughout the year if that were the case, I realized that I would lean more towards actually purchasing eyeshadow palettes if each one I knew was only supposed to count as one product. So that's kind of interesting, and I felt like I didn't want to do that. And it doesn't really make sense to me to make one eyeshadow worth like equivalent to one eyeshadow palette, because the reason why I'm restricting things again is not monetary, but it's more for the amount of product I'm able to bring into my collection, actually enjoy and use. So for me, I'm treating 5 eyeshadows to be equal to one palette. So that would be equal to essentially one product. So I'm allowed to get like a bundle of 5 single eyeshadows, and that will be equivalent to one like product purchase. And so that could be like 1 month. So those are basically the rules. That's how I'm going to treat single eyeshadows. I'm going to purchase one product each month. It's allowed to roll over if I finish all my concealers this year, which I doubt I'll do before like right by the end of the year, but if I do, then I'll allow myself to purchase a concealer. Same thing with mascara or powder, that's that sort of thing. So just very few products, though, I think will fall into that category, so I don't think it'll be a major thing that will affect any of this. But yeah, so that's what I'm going to be doing for this year, and I'm really interested to see what I do end up getting. Now, I was planning to just start this in February, but given that I only did one makeup purchase in January anyways, I did purchase 5 single eyeshadows from Give Me Glow, so we can count that as like the first purchase in January. In February, I haven't purchased anything yet, but I do have something that I really, really want to purchase, and it is actually a lip product. So it's going to be really interesting. I can't wait to get my hands on that. So there will be that. I will do a whole video on it when I get it, but I haven't purchased it yet because I did want to wait the 2 weeks. So basically I do this whole thing where, and this will remain for this year as well, where if there's something new that I really want, I wait at least 2 weeks before I purchase it, because I want to make sure that I'm not just doing it because of the hype or I haven't thought it through. So that rule of like my wish list, how it works, is still going to stay as it always has, so that I'm not making impulse purchases. That will always be the case regardless of what monetary or item restrictions I have in place. So yeah, I'm just going to wait a little bit longer, and then I think that might be the purchase that I get in March, but I still have like a whole bunch of stuff on my wish list, so I don't know. We'll see what I end up getting. And I mean, you will see me do reviews dedicated to any new product that I bring into my collection anyway, so you'll be seeing what I'm getting. That's why I'm not thinking of doing like a monthly update, because I'll probably have a review video up on whatever I purchased that month anyways. But just to discuss my feelings again on how it's influenced me and, you know, just how the project has been, I'll do a 6-month update, and then we'll see from there if I want to update more regularly or not. But yeah, that's basically it for this video. I hope it was helpful, you know, if you're thinking of doing a no-buy, low-buy beauty budget, just to hear other people's experiences. I feel like is very helpful. And you got to see a little bit of my makeup collection that products that I brought in for the last 3 years. But yeah, that's it for this video. We've chatted quite a bit and it's gotten dark out, so I'm going to wrap up the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this kind of conscious consumerism type of content, please do subscribe. And if you like the video, please give it a like. I will see you in the next one. Bye!